Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk a little bit of everything Green Bay Packers, man. We got a college all-star game around the corner. We may touch on it just a little bit, some details that were interesting that surfaced earlier today. We're going to talk about Matt LaFleur's contract negotiation. Is it stalled out? Are they close? We're hearing kind of both sides of it. I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little antsy now. Like, okay, this is getting into the red zone for me just a touch. So we'll talk about that. I'll get Tim's take. Emilio will be joining us here shortly, maybe Jacob as well. And on the backside, we're going to talk some Romeo Doubs, where it looks like Romeo and his teammates may be saying goodbye to each other. I'll show you guys what we mean by that. Before we get into everything, if you would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit sub and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on shows here in the future. Tim, how you doing tonight, big dog?
Good, man. Ready to talk some rumors. Let's do it.
That's what we got tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with a super chat, and then we'll move right into that first topic. So I promise we won't spend much time on this at all. But Packer Doug with the super says, what do you think of Sean Mannion, our quarterback coach, being named offensive coordinator for the Shrine Game? Is he our next OC? Great question, right? Because, again, what's going to happen with offensive coordinator? We're going to keep Stenavich, right? We're going to go that route. Are we going to demote Stenavich to offensive line coach and potentially let Butkus go? And then hire an OC, or maybe you promote Sean Mannion to OC. I don't see that happening personally, Packer Doug. But in terms of what you're saying with the Shrine Bowl, he will be the offensive coordinator for the West team in the East-West Shrine Bowl. Really excited about this, Tim. I thought this was really interesting. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but since Packer Doug hit us with the super chat, I figured we'd chat about it for a second. To me, this is a great vantage point for our offensive quarterback, our quarterback coach on offense, right? To have a bird's eye view at all the offensive players and what they could do, as he's going to be their offensive coordinator. I think this is really, really exciting, man.
Yeah, me too. And I'm with you. I don't think he's our next OC or anything. But I do think you can't keep a good man down in this league. And looking at how quickly he transitioned from being a backup QB to being a quarterback coach, and now getting the OC nod at the Shrine Bowl. Time's only going to tell the story. At some point, he's probably going to get snatched up by someone, if it's not us, in that kind of a role, whether it's, OC, passing game coordinator, something like that. So, yeah, shout out to Sean Mannion. And, yeah, it gives us, a little bit of an advantage, I think, from, an internal scouting standpoint. You've got your quarterbacks coach as the OC during the Shrine Bowl. We get an inside look at a lot of these prospects, so it'll be awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. And listen, Jordan Love had arguably his best full season this year. I think we would agree, right? He's up there in some of the, the advanced metrics and analytics and, EPA per drop back, everything like that. You got to give credit to Sean Mannion the same as you give credit to Matt LaFleur. Maybe you should give some to Steno too. It's just the vibe I get is Steno's working more with the O-line than he is necessarily with the quarterbacks or anything like that, right? That sounds like that's Matt LaFleur and Sean Mannion exclusively. So
it's not easy to follow Coach Clements either. You're talking about a legend when it comes to developing quarterbacks, and I think Sean Mannion stepped right into that role and picked up right where Coach Clements left off.
Yeah, absolutely. Packer Doug, thank you for the super, man. I want to give a shout out to the man himself, the howling Kenny Rogers. Profile pic's pretty funny, but this guy right here, Tim, not only did he give 5 Packer Fan Total Access memberships, but I guarantee you he knows when to hold them
and knows when to fold them.
No doubt about it. So
know when to walk away and when to run too, right?
That's right. I wish Jacob knew when to walk away and run. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have so many ladies after him there and having to follow the restraining orders on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much, Kenny Rogers. Appreciate you gifting that to 5 lucky. It looks like, everybody's noticing they got one. So congratulations, everybody. Got a free membership there. You now got access to the emojis. I want to get back to doing the giveaways, but got a little pushback on the giveaways. Some people were saying it's illegal to do that. So I'm kind of, all right, we got to watch ourselves here. We don't want to get in trouble. These were pieces of memorabilia that were given to me by listeners. Hey, man, give this out to some of your listeners, right? And as you do that and you attach a perk to it, not that kind of perk, you knuckleheads, but you know what I'm saying. Evidently, that can be frowned upon. So we got to be careful with that stuff.
Not this kind of perk, not this one.
On my knee.
Exactly, Tim, not that one. But I'm in the process of reaching out to YouTube and seeing what we are and are not allowed to do, because I've seen people do it in the past, but I don't know, man. We got to be careful there. So, J. Cole says Perk Rogers. There you go. So, again, that's the news that Doug was talking about there with Sean Mannion, which I think is really, really interesting. So, Tim, let's switch gears and let's talk Matt LaFleur contract, conversation, negotiation, whatever you want to call it. And this is one of those things, if I'm giving my honest opinion, I expected it to be done by now. And what I'm going to do is play two sound bites here. One is from Barstool Sports that Diana Rossini was on there earlier today. I believe it was today, January 15th. Yeah, around noon, around 1 o'clock my time. And she was asked about the Matt LaFleur situation. And then we're going to shift gears and get the McAfee show's take on it as well. All right. So this was Diana Rossini earlier today on Barstool Sports talking about the Matt LaFleur contract negotiations and what may or may not be going wrong with it. We'll pause it in between. I want to get everybody's take in the chat. Here we go.
Dan, a few weeks ago, you came on here and we were talking about maybe something like unexpected that could be coming down, and you mentioned Matt LaFleur, and this was actually backed up with like other reporting over the ensuing time, and then it ended all pretty disastrously with LaFleur in Green Bay this season. What is his current job status? Do you think he'll be back as the Green Bay Packers head coach next year?
Yeah, I think I'd word it as it ended the absolute worst way it could have gone for Matt LaFleur, right? Like, that was literally what was like, don't do this. Boom. And they did it, unfortunately. No, I get the sense that Green Bay and Matt LaFleur are going to be working towards a deal, and he's going to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any conversations with anyone that has said, like, look, this thing is coming to a head. They're not willing to give him a new contract. If anything, those conversations are in deep talks right now, where they're trying to keep Matt signed up there, to stay in Green Bay. And those are one of those things where, I'd say probably more than any other head coach, either who's currently a head coach or just recently was fired. That's the one where everyone around football is like, what are we missing? Why would anyone think Matt LaFleur is not good enough for the Green Bay Packers?
I pause for dramatic effect.
Because they're stupid.
Very good at what he does. But I just think sometimes when you see games like, unfortunately, what they did against the Bears, you lose doubt, and everyone's memories are so short. So I think for Green Bay, if the fans like him, they'll be happy that he's back. But we will see how this shakes out. But I don't expect any other, like, there better not be another firing at this point. I don't know if I could handle it, but I mean, if you look around the league, there's really no one, in my opinion, that would be in trouble, because most are set and moving on towards the next chapter here.
So that was Diana Rossini on Barstool Sports, right, talking about it. So I want to get your all's take. Let's just leave this picture up here as we talk about it, because I'm going to set up another video that was on the Pat McAfee show, or an audio, I should say, that we're going to play where he talked to Adam Schefter. So Diana Rossini, she's going, yeah, why would you not want Matt LaFleur to be your coach, right? The fans, that huge poll question that Bill Huber put out, like 70% of the fans say Matt LaFleur should be back, right? So it's like, what are we missing here? I know my opinion on it. I want to get your all's take real quick based off of what Diana said, just real fast, and we'll hit the Adam Schefter audio, and then we'll kind of wrap up with comparing him to John Harbaugh, who just got the bag, let me tell you. So, Tim, what you think about what Diana said there? Anything you disagree with, agree with? What you got, man?
No, I think it's great reporting, and I think it speaks to the majority of the fan base that understands that this year sucked. It didn't go how we wanted it to. Injury bug and crapping down your leg in the divisional, or not making it to the divisional round again. Losing in the wild card, one and done. It's frustrating, but I can't think of a head coaching candidate that's out there that's going to give us a better look going forward than Matt LaFleur right now. So I think they're just stuck on probably some money or some years, specifics. But I'm in the camp of keep Matt LaFleur and make some adjustments to your staff going forward.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I like that, Tim. For real, we do need a little bit more help on the offensive side. Not that Matt wasn't in his bag, because he absolutely was that game. It's just you can't do every bit of it. And he also still needs to be the head coach as well, where everyone gets on him on that as But you see him working his tail off when the defense is out there, leaning down with Jordan, going over the tablet, trying to get everything squared away, make sure we got this taken care of. And, you act like, he's not out there, giving it his all. So I don't know why we get rid of Matt. I want him as my coach for the next few years. Let's keep that window open with Matt and Jordan. And why would you not pair a QB with a coach, right? I think they've got that pairing. He's got that offense. He's got the bet. Like Matt and Jordan, I feel like are almost on the same wavelength. Let's get them over that hump and get them melded now.
I'm wondering if it's a scenario where Matt just needs an OC that he trusts to call plays, and he can design that offense and just be a head coach and bring an OC in here and let him call the plays, right?
That's been a big conversation point. I personally disagree with it because, every head coach, they have their strengths and their weaknesses, right? Like Bill Belichick's strength was situational awareness. He was so good at training his team on understanding every single situation, every little detail, right? That's like the Carrington Valentine interception the other day. Some people made it out like it was just this horrible sin that he caught the interception. Others, got really, really excited he got the interception. Bill Belichick in that situation, his player would not have caught that ball. He would have been taught, hey, situationally aware, you're costing us invisible yardage. Do not catch that football, right? Bat it down. It's 4th down. Unless, it's kind of like the play with Christian earlier this year, right? That type of thing. So with all that being said, that's his strength. That was Belichick's strength, right? Just his well-roundedness of kind of seeing the game. He didn't call plays, right? Yeah. Matt LaFleur's strength is calling the plays. I mean, you don't believe me? Go look at his offensive rankings. Go look at what he's done with Jordan Love. Look how he resurrected Aaron's career when many people thought Aaron was done. Aaron came out and won back-to-back MVPs when Matt showed up, right? And that's something. I don't know if Aaron had never won back-to-back MVPs before that, right? I know he's won 4, but he didn't win them back-to-back, I don't believe. But nonetheless, that's Matt's strength. So I feel like if you take the play column from Matt, that's removing his strength. Now, there's still got to be an answer to the question, right, Tim? Like how do you fix the problem? I've said kind of going a different route. We need a coach's coach in here. We need somebody to have his back, hire him, put him on the I'm about to say a real bad word. Put him on the payroll. Okay. I got really animated just now. I was about to drop the F-bomb. Put him on the payroll. And you're going, what do you mean, Clayton? I'm talking about Ernie Adams. You don't know who Ernie Adams is? Look it up. That was Bill Belichick's coach's coach, right-hand man that's in the booth. The interception that Malcolm Butler got in the end zone to seal the game-winning play in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. Ernie Adams combed through all the tape and found that specific set. They put it in that week and repped it in practice because Ernie Adams found that and bring it to Bill Belichick like, hey, look for them to do a stack look if they get inside the 5. And everybody's going to load the box thinking, Marshawn Lynch is going to run the ball. And they love to throw a rub route with a stack look. Ernie Adams found that. Now, go back to his mentor, Belichick's mentor, Bill Parcells, right? Not mentor, but, the guy that brung him up in the game. Bill Parcells had Mickey Corcoran. Mickey Corcoran was his right-hand man. He was the guy. That was his coach. That was his mentor. Who's Matt LaFleur's mentor? Probably Sean McVay. Sean McVay is an opposing coach, so Matt can't go to him and go, hey, Sean, bud, give me all your secrets. That's just not how that works. I'm sure they talk, and I guarantee you Matt's giving him some tips on the Bears this week, which is hilarious, but that's neither here nor there. So, again, I think that's the proper way of handling it. But Adam Schefter was on the McAfee show earlier today, and they asked specifically about Matt LaFleur. Let's see what Adam Schefter said earlier today on the McAfee show. And again, McAfee show, anything can happen here, guys. Or maybe an F-bomb here or there like I about dropped. So if you got kids in the room, just be prepared. This is the first time I've listened to this. So I want to see what Schefter said and listen to it in real time with you guys. Here we go.
With Harbaugh's deal getting done and it being what it is, how does that affect the Green Bay situation, if at all?
No bearing at all. The Packers and Matt LaFleur have been working on an extension. They've been talking. I think it's gone a couple of different ways here. I think right now, the way it was described to me earlier today, I think the expectation and belief is that he's expected back in Green Bay and excited about that opportunity. That's the belief on both sides. So until we hear different, I think we operate under the assumption that he's going to be back and they're going to figure it out. Okay. They're working on trying to get it done. That's what I would expect to happen right now, but they're not done. So until they're done, we'll see. But I believe they're going to work it out.
It just feels like there's a market, that you know exactly how much you should pay, guy.
Pat, there will be a big market for Matt LaFleur because if the Green Bay Packers
You don't say. There would be a big market for Matt LaFleur.
don't work it out, I'm telling you right now, Matt LaFleur would get more money from other teams, and there would be multiple teams, in my mind, that would be willing to step in and offer draft pick compensation to the Green Bay Packers.
So Adam Schefter is working behind the scenes as an insider, right? What he's confirming here is, and what he just said, it came out of his mouth, is that there's multiple teams that would be willing to pay Matt LaFleur more than the Packers are willing to pay him. You read between the lines, the Packers are lowballing Matt LaFleur. So will Matt take less money to stay in Green Bay? That's going to be the question. Now, we know he loves it. We know he's very vocal after that, this week at the podium saying, this is one of one. I love Lambeau Field. I love the fans. I love this organization. He wants to be here, but there's a walking away price as well. And I'm just glad he mentioned that. Now, also, he mentioned there are multiple teams that would be willing to give draft compensation to acquire the rights of Matt LaFleur as well. Let's finish it here.
To get it done. So,
yeah, LaFleur's people know that, LaFleur's people know that that's the case. And this will lead perfectly to the next question. So they're definitely saying that to the Packers. This is just classic negotiation. Here's the comps. Here's exactly what I am owed. Here's how successful I am. The fact that they don't have an owner, okay, so they have access to a vault of money, and they know exactly what a fair market deal would be for him now, especially after the Harbaugh deal is signed. It's like, okay, this is easily done then. But it's not. So we shall see. Okay, so if he was
and this is what
to hit the market as a coach, he would be Bella Ball.
Again, he would be Bella Ball, right? Like if he were to hit the market, he's going to get more money than anybody, including Harbaugh, is what he's essentially saying right there, right? Sure. So with all that being said, here's the thing. Wilde alluded to this the other day. And I don't know if Jason Wilde has been very, very, very much so in Matt's camp. He thinks Matt deserves a contract extension. Let's go around the horn one time here. I don't want to misquote anybody. I think we should re-sign Matt LaFleur. Tim?
Yes, 10-4. Affirmative.
Emilio, how do you feel?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so you're definitely on board. So all three of us are on board. Jason Wilde, Packers Insider, he's on board, right? We polled the fan base multiple times, and it always comes back to a large majority of the fan base says, yes, Matt LaFleur is the guy. That's the one we want. You've got other teams saying, boy, we would pay more than the Packers would be willing to pay and give up draft picks. What am I missing?
Well, it didn't help that the Giants just screwed everything up and overpaid Harbaugh.
Glad you brought that up.
Not making it easier.
Glad you brought that up because I was telling Tim offline too, guys. You know what this feels like to me?
Jordan Love's contract.
Would you say, Emilio?
Jordan Love's contract.
All right. Yep. Emilio just jumped on the stream. He did not even hear mine and Tim's conversation. That's absolutely awesome. That's exactly what we were talking about. It was like the longer you wait, the more the money goes up. If you get the deal done 3 days ago, you're probably coming out pretty nice in this. Now Matt LaFleur's camp, I guarantee you, is going, do you see what John Harbaugh got today, guys? Do you see that? Let me help you. So I got word that he got 5 years, $20 million per. $100 million deal. I originally thought they said $25 million per. I had a tweet typed out from the person I was talking about who covers the Giants. And then I realized right before I hit send, you idiot, that does not say $25 million per. You got to carry the two. No, that's $20 million per, but still big chunk of money. 5 year, $20 million. It did get confirmed later. This account, I think they're close to the Giants as well. 60,000 followers, I think it is. They reported it too. They might have even got it as I was communicating behind the scenes with a Giants insider. Giants are finalizing a 5-year deal with John Harbaugh. He's expected to be around $20 million per, making him one of the top paid coaches in football. He'll have a massive power in the organization, something the coach hasn't had with the Giants in quite some time. So not only did they give him 5 years, $20 million per, they also gave him, it sounds like, hey, you kind of get final say or a good chunk of say in how the roster is created. On the flip side, it's kind of being loosely reported that one of the holdups in this whole contract negotiation with Matt LaFleur might be that Ed Policy is wanting to pull some stuff away from Matt LaFleur. And possibly, again, Rob Domofsky reported this over at ESPN, that Ed Policy wants to go back to the old structure where the GM is the head coach's boss. So if you're Matt LaFleur, you've been getting lowballed all week, right? And now all of a sudden, the news is coming out, or, well, you already know you're in the negotiations, and they're saying to you behind the scenes, hey, look, how do you feel about Goody being your boss and him telling you basically how to run the team? Okay, so you're taking, which keep in mind, they were equal going into this year, right? So if that does change in the new contract restructure, the structure of however you want to call it, then all of a sudden, Matt, they offered him way less money than Harbaugh was getting offered, and you're going to have less power, not than just Harbaugh, but than you had before. And then you find out not only did Harbaugh get $20 million per, but he's getting a good chunk of say in how the organization is building the roster. Guys, I love my Green Bay Packers. I will be here through and through covering the team and talking Packer ball, and I will not root for another team if they're ever playing the Packers, right? However, I don't care what anybody says. This is a badass look. And this is what Wildy said the other day to Tausch on their show. He said, here we go again. This is what Aaron Rodgers was talking about when he exited. And now it's happening a little bit to Matt LaFleur. I may be completely blowing this out of proportion. I want you guys to tell me if I am. And please, please, please be brutally honest. Am I being too hard on the organization, too easy on Matt? Emilio, you go first, man.
No, I think you're spot on there. I mean, like you said, I wasn't even there. That's the first thing I thought of was we can't be dragging our feet like we did on Jordan Love. So we missed it by a week, and you have to pay him an extra $5. You miss that, that maybe it happened that we lost to the Bears. So you had an opportunity, a window to get him signed, get that. I mean, you could have done it that week. All right, Matt, well, let's get you signed. Let's get this thing moving, and get going on it. Now you may have cost yourself what, if they wanted him for 16, 15, 16, 17, you got to give him 21, 22 now probably. So you cost yourself another 5 or 10 right there. But the fact that you can't pay him right now, do we need to get a little recycling on the board, or, at 5 years, you gotta get out of there or something? I mean, like, I don't, what are we doing why is there a hang up there?
Exactly. And that's kind of what Pat McAfee was saying, was like, kind of feels like the market is pretty, you kind of know what the market is, right, Tim? Like, so what do you think, Tim? How do you feel about it, man?
I think you guys are both right. And I think we might be at two sticking points then. The money and the years on the deal could be an issue, market value. And then, GM being your boss and, telling you how to run your team. That could be another sticking point too. And I'm in the camp of keep it how it has been. You guys should work together. Right. GM and head coach should work together in that war room. Neither one is answering to each other. They're on the same level. Nobody's a superior. We've seen head coaches get that opportunity before where they are the head coach and the GM, and they usually are really good at one and they suck at the other. So right. I think the two-headed monster approach is the best way to go. So hopefully that's not what's going on right now.
I was already a little irritated by it, but when I heard Schefter say there are multiple teams willing to pay more for Matt LaFleur and give up draft compensation, that's when I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, we literally what that tells me is he's willing to, and keep in mind, Adam Schefter is in tight with Matt LaFleur's agents. Okay. That's the majority of the source of the information that's coming out here rather than the team, right? If this is Ian Rappaport reporting, I'd be like, okay, Rapp's giving us kind of the team's side, right? Now, Rapp's been quiet on this. That says a lot. That's probably the team going, come on, Matt, take this deal. Take this deal, Matt. Take this deal. Yeah. Don't ruffle the feathers, right? The second that Ian Rappaport comes out with a heavy report that Matt LaFleur is being stubborn or whatever, that's when we got to go, oh, no, now it's getting bad. So, I don't know, man, the fact that they're willing to give a draft compensation and pay more for Matt LaFleur, and he's still in the negotiating room, tells me he wants to be in Green Bay, and it tells me he's willing to take less than what he could get on the market. And that's why I'm like, why are we pushing this? Kenny Rogers back in here with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I understand that we don't have a multi-billionaire owner, but playing chicken with coaching talent over several million in this league seems absurd. I'm with you.
Yep.
I think
Especially when he'll walk out the door and be hired in 5 seconds by another team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Super chat from Mike, the super fan, says, I want the GM to have the same power Ron Wolf had. And you know what? It worked, right? There's a positive and a negative to everything. It worked. You got a championship. But what happened immediately after that championship? You made it back to the Super Bowl in 98, and then 2 years later, Holmgren wanted the hell out, and you had to trade Holmgren, right? And then what happened? You bring in you go through Mike Sherman, you bring in Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, it's structured the old way, just like with Ron Wolf. Him and Ted Thompson won a championship, but then what happened? Mike McCarthy got to the point where he didn't even know when they were signing a player during the season. He would find out from the media that they just signed a player. And you remember the famous comment that Mike McCarthy made. They said, what do you think about free agency and this and that? What's it like this time of year? And he said, and when you whatever, sign a player, did we sign somebody? He said, yeah, you signed him. That's what it's like. I just found out, basically, right?
Might have been an overcorrection from the Mike Sherman experience.
Right.
The GM / head coach.
That fell apart quick, too, didn't it, Tim? Like Bob Harlan made very, very, very few mistakes, but he said that was his biggest mistake, was allowing that to happen. If you guys don't know what happened, is Ron Wolf left. Mike Holmgren had already left. You traded him, right, to the Seahawks, and then you ended up giving Mike Sherman GM and head coaching together, and it all fell apart. And Bob Harlan is on the record going, boy, that was my biggest mistake. That was just too much for one person to handle.
Don't forget about that little Ray Rhodes experience that we had, too.
I'm trying to, Tim. I'm trying to forget that was ugly, right? And that was the immediate fallout from trading that head coach, right? Now, you get to the backside of the Mike McCarthy era, and what happened? The silos comment, right? That's when Mark Murphy said, okay, listen, guys, let's remove all silos. Let's get in here. It's going to be me, Russ Ball, Brian Gutekunst, or whoever. Yeah, Brian Gutekunst and the head coach, and we're all four going to make a decision together. I personally like that better. But, Mike, I respect the opinion. He wants the GM having full say, full power over the coach. And you guys know I've been kind of vocal. I think it's wild that Goody has gotten zero criticism for marching out the youngest roster 3 years in a row and then wondering why these guys can't make plays in the most crucial moments. That's just my opinion there. But appreciate you, Mike. H.E. Soder with the super chat. Really bad start for policy. I agree, Soder. I agree. I think it's kind of a and I was excited about Ed Policy, right? But then again, we talked about with Ed Policy, Carmen Policy was his father. What did he do? He was instrumental with Bill Walsh trading away Joe Montana. That pissed off the team there, right? And then later on, he let George Seifert go too, which whether you think George Seifert was a good coach or not, that caused a big kerfuffle, I guess you could say, right? So I agree, though, Soder. I think it is kind of a bad start for Policy, personally. But appreciate the super chat, man. Let's get back to the facts here if we can. So we talk about the contract, right? Now you're going, okay, well, who's the better coach? Let's compare it here. Winning percentage, Matt LaFleur 16th all-time at 654, all right? John Harbaugh is 36th all-time at 614. Now, doing a little extra research, John Harbaugh has a better playoff record. He's just above 500 in the playoffs. Matt LaFleur is like below 400, I believe, right? So that's the negative side of Matt LaFleur. But also
playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Another game. So John Harbaugh has a better playoff record. However, in 18 years, he missed the playoffs 6 years. Matt LaFleur has been here for 7 years and missed it only once, right? So it's like I kind of look at the playoff analogy there as a push. Well, he won a Super Bowl. He did. He won a Super Bowl. That was in 2012, I think. It's a long time ago, guys. We're talking about 13 years ago. And Matt is significantly younger, meaning this is kind of – let me get to the point first. Matt's significantly younger, one of the younger coaches in the league, right? And, I don't know if he's one of the younger, but you know what I mean. He's kind of – what is he, in his 40s? Yeah. And you've got John Harbaugh, who's 63 years old. So Matt LaFleur kind of getting his feet under him in the league, right? He's had success, playoffs 3 years in a row, right? Handcrafted Jordan Love into MVP caliber quarterback. I think we would all agree. Resurrected Aaron Rodgers' career there with 2 back-to-back MVP. All the stuff we talked about, right? This kind of feels like how we'll bring a player in young, and they're developmental. We'll get them ready. We'll get them ready. And then the second they're ready, we let them go. That would suck. What if John Harbaugh continues to go down like he has, obviously to the point where he got fired, and then all of a sudden Matt LaFleur really hits his stride as a head coach? You're like you're losing his best years, I guess you could say, right? If it gets to that point. So just wanted to point out that coaching comparison there. What do you guys think about that? And maybe you guys put more value. Maybe the chat puts more value in the playoff record as opposed to the overall, regular season record. But my only pushback there is, okay, show me when John Harbaugh had the youngest roster in the league. That's the only pushback there. So what do you guys think?
And him kind of pushing that playoff record is also, if you win a Super Bowl, right, you got to go on a 3 or 4 win streak right there in the playoffs. That's half of your. That's half of would be. I mean, Matt would be over his playoff record, no problem, if we had made make one run and you're back to above 500. So that's something you can definitely look at. But like you said, I saw a graph the other day. I don't know what it was, but it was like coaches' timelines of how it was like all 32 coaches' timelines of how long they've been in the NFL. And like you look at the chunk of time, it was like Andy Reid was at the Eagles for like 12 years or something. And then like, that's his chunk. And now he's got a whole nother chunk with Kansas City. What if you just have that, Super Bowl winning head coach that whole time, if you're already lined up for it, right? I mean, instead of maybe looking at a 3-year deal for Matt, maybe a 5 or a 6 or, 7, I don't know. It's just like, get yourself something that you can, hang your hat on it and be able to take.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's like we talk about with players, right? Like the players, you'd rather get away 1 year early than 1 year too late sometimes. Well, with a coach, you don't want to do that. If you've got a guy that's built something and, you've seen some sustained success, a little bit of disappointment, I would hate to lose Matt LaFleur and watch him go win a title somewhere else, because it's a very realistic possibility. Right. And I'm more in your camp, Clayton, that, if you believe in him, give him the bag.
Right.
Give him the bag, keep him here. If you don't, then we shouldn't even be having these conversations.
Right. Right, Tim, because he's cutting his teeth as a head coach here, right? Why would you go through all the pains, the trials, the tribulations, whatever it is for 3 years getting into the play? Okay, all right, we can get to the playoffs. All right, I got to, I have this prepared moving forward. I mean, we've seen it was, oh, shucks, Matt LaFleur to,
Tupac LaFleur.
Exactly. So it's like, what's his next phase? That could be Super Bowl LaFleur. You know what I mean? Like that's I think where we're at.
And let's not forget why Matt got the job in the first place, because of all the interviews that we had when we had the head coaching vacancy. Matt LaFleur was the one who was most prepared and absolutely nailed it. So I think you got to remember that. Yeah, a lot of time has passed since then. But I'm in the camp of pay that man his money and let's move forward.
Yeah. Because here's the deal too. Like for anybody who thinks Matt LaFleur isn't the guy, I can respect it. I disagree, but I get it. Like, okay, you haven't seen enough success in the playoffs. I got you, man. Cool. Make the damn decision.
Yeah.
Like you're dragging your feet. You're not saying Matt LaFleur isn't the guy. You're saying, I think he's the guy. Not you. I'm talking about Ed Policy, please. Not the people who believe Matt shouldn't be the coach. But Ed Policy's going, he's the guy, but I don't want to pay that top dollar. What the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, I've got like there's a house for sale up on the hill. I'm always going to use business analogies. I know y'all get tired of it, but there's a house for sale up on the hill, right? They're asking an astronomical amount for that house. And it's been on the market for almost a year. And they've had multiple offers come through. Your house is worth what someone's willing to pay. Okay, you've been sitting on that place for a year now, and you've had 10, 11, 12 offers, and you still somehow, some way think it's worth something else. The market determines what something's worth. If you don't, you either think he's the guy or you don't. If he's the guy, you pay market value. It's that simple.
Pay that man his money.
If you don't think he's the guy, guess what? And here's the other thing. There was another tweet that came out that kind of made you think, I can't remember who tweeted it. I was reading on the timeline that made you think that if Matt LaFleur had been on the market, the Giants were very, very, very adamant that Matt LaFleur would be their top candidate, right? So you just missed out on an opportunity to potentially create a bidding war to trade Matt LaFleur. That's business malpractice in itself. Again, going back to what Soder said, this ain't a good start for Ed Policy. We may look back in 2 years and go, this dude's a football genius. Holy cow. Thank you, God, for sending Ed Policy to us. We may think that. Right now, it ain't looking too good, man. This is just kind of a shaky start. So to save a few $1,000,000, I am a Packers owner, right? You see the stock, right here. Ed Policy, if you're watching this, if you need a couple other bucks, bub, and we know you don't, it's estimated you got $600 million in the bank right now. If you need a couple extra bucks, do another stock drive. I'll throw you 2 hundos. I might buy 2 of them and give one as a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? I guess I'm getting my Irish up. Freedom House 1984 has a great question here. Who do you want Matt LaFleur developing your quarterback room or John Harbaugh?
Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur.
Yes.
150% of the time.
He may disagree with us. I hate when there's an open-ended question like that, unless he's just genuinely asking, right? Or she, I apologize. But yeah, it's not even close. And how can you say that, Clayton? He just had a 2-time MVP, right, in Lamar Jackson, and they couldn't get over the hump with it. And by the way, for everything about his playoff record, Emilio made a great point. You go on that Super Bowl run, that makes that playoff record look a lot better, right?
We'll be over 500. If you go on and win a Super Bowl, Matt will be over 500, win 600, whatever his winning percentage would get to. 3-4 wins, done.
And if you look at since 2012, let's say he's made the playoffs. I just said he made the playoffs. What was it? He's missed the playoffs 6 times in 18 years. Right. So he's made the playoff 12 times, right? Well, you do the math. If they went on the Super Bowl run, right, and you remove those wins and look at, say, the last 5 years, what's his playoff record the last 5 years? So now we're having to go back 8, 10, 12 years on a guy who's now 62 or 63 years old to find his best playoff.
Right. And the other thing with Harbaugh is there was some speculation that he may or may not have lost that locker room at some point in the last year or so. That's not a question with Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur has this locker room.
Bingo.
We can run tape all day on that.
That's what really, Tim, I'm glad you brought it up. That's what really made me kind of plant my feet a little bit, because I was a little bit like, man, it's loud out here. And then the poll questions kind of set me at ease. Okay, I ain't the only one, right? Obviously, it's the vocal minority that disagree. And that's okay. It doesn't mean the majority's right and they're wrong. I have an ego problem, right? I have a temper problem. So anytime I think I'm right, I try to step back and go, okay, what's everybody else saying? Maybe I'm off base here, right? And that seems to be the case there. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. It's fun to talk about too. Like I may be coming across like I'm aggravated and pissed off. I am a little, but also I love the business of sports. This is going to be a great case study for the future. If they screw this up, and Matt LaFleur leaves and he goes on and wins a Super Bowl somewhere, and we're stuck recycling coaches for the next 2 or 3, cycles, then we're going to go, okay, we made a mistake. If they decide to move on, they have a slam dunk hire, and we win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, and Matt LaFleur goes on to do nothing, then we'll be sitting here going, boy, we were wrong. Ed Policy was right. Same type of thing. But it does sound like it's going to get done, though. So, Mike with the super chat, this can't be sitting well with the players. I think it's a complex deal, but this isn't a good look. That's the other aspect. You just talked about it, Tim. Matt LaFleur has the locker room, and that pissed a lot of those Matt LaFleur haters off when they seen that. Boy, I put a poll question up, just to be 100% honest. I put a poll question up saying Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, and Micah Parsons all want Matt LaFleur back. What do you want? What's your take on it? It's obviously that the team captains want him back. Got a death threat in the DM. I'm like, no, I don't take those serious. I'll give you my damn address, bud. You got a long driveway to come down, and we got a rifle in the window. Just being real, okay? But yeah, it was really odd. It's like they can't stand the fact that, oh man, I may not get my way, and I'm completely wrong here. So, but. I agree. Amelia, what do you think about what Mike says here, man? It can't be sitting well with the players. Or do you think they look at it like, oh, this is just business? They could be looking at it like that too. I don't know.
Maybe at first, but I think the longer you drag it on, the worse it gets. It probably is a little complex, but at this point, just pay $21 million for 5 years, 6 years, and move. Like you can just be done with it. I think that it's about the draft and how we're kind of setting up the team. Because if you move on from Matt, who's bringing in the next offense? What does Jordan have to learn? What does all the offense learn? Are we Same thing with bringing in a new DC. How's the offense built? Are you going to try to go back to being a run-heavy team? All right, fine, but we don't have the O-line for that. We need more tight ends. You need another, a different backfield. You need to get rid of some receivers so that you can have more backs to rotate. It's just like you could, blow it all up right now, but why would we want to do that when you have it basic? Like, we just need to tamp the foundation. Like I said, the gravel's coming. Just go grab the plate compactor, put it in the pad, and just run that thing around there for 30 minutes and be done with it.
Yo, wacky Packer, man.
And then we can start building the blocks, because I just move on with this so that we can get going for next year.
I think you briefly mentioned DC just now. I want to get that AZ Marky Mark in our Patreon group questions for the show. He said, question for the group, what are the potential candidates to replace Jeff Hafley? I'm thinking Robert Saleh would be a good candidate. Thoughts? We can't bring in Robert Saleh, unfortunately, AZ Marky Mark, because that would be a horizontal move. Okay.
Right.
He is the DC in San Francisco. So you can't do that. It can only be a promotion. That's the other thing that's kind of like, let's say that Matt LaFleur is not the guy. Right. And thank you for that, Marky Mark. We appreciate you, buddy, in there. And thanks to everybody that's supporting it. Patreon's blowing up to the point where we had a hacker last night. I had to have Patreon help me take care of. So
nice.
You're arriving when the hackers show up. Right. So we're doing good there. But the other thing, Tim, we kind of talked about it. Let's say that Ed Policy does not think Matt LaFleur is the guy moving forward. One of my top choices as head coach, and you guys know I'm not about having a defensive coach as a head coach, but if it keeps Jeff Hafley in Green Bay, I would say one of the top choices for me would be promote Jeff Hafley to head coach, right? And then you either promote your DC from within, or you go out and try to get a Brian Flores if he doesn't get a head coaching job. It looks like he's got a good shot of getting one of 3 jobs, to be honest, so it probably won't happen. But then you go get the youngest, brightest mind as your OC, right? Now, here's the problem. You guys know my choice in OC, right? If he doesn't get the Cleveland job, there's some people thinking that maybe Mike McDaniel would get the Cleveland job, head coaching job. If he doesn't, I would say Mike McDaniel. Here's the problem. Wherever Matt LaFleur goes, all he's got to do is call up Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's like, oh, I'm there, bub, because Matt LaFleur's went to bat for Mike McDaniel over the years. They're like best friends, or really, really close friends, not best friends, not like Sean McVay. So you're probably going to lose out on that one as well. So I even thought, like, as bad as it would hurt me, do you go into Chicago and poach somebody there? You know what I mean? Out of their offensive scheme or whatever. You can't get their OC to be your OC. You'd have to hire their OC to be your head coach, and I don't know if I could stomach that, to be honest with you. So I don't know how y'all feel about that. But Soder says, so what is the chats per year in length for Matt LaFleur? What does he mean there, guys? Help me out.
Like, what are the talks? What is it, like 3-year deal, or is it a 5-year deal? Is it a 7-year deal?
That's what I was saying. Maybe that's the sticking point. Maybe it's not even the money. Maybe it's 3 years was dangled in front of him, and Matt wants more long-term commitment than that.
And again, it comes back to the comp, right?
Yep.
Matt, if they go to Matt and they say 3 years, $60 million, we'll give you the same amount as John Harbaugh. Actually, we'll give you $61 million, $1 million more than Harbaugh. He's going to go, that ain't 120, or that ain't 100. I don't know why I'm hung up on 120, but that ain't 100, right? That's not a 5-year deal, because again, these contracts are fully guaranteed. And then if you get hired somewhere else, it offsets, and the team that was recently paying you gets freed up that money, and the other team pays you the difference, right? That type of thing. So
it'd be a 3-year deal after, because we still have him under contract for this coming year, right?
Right.
So
that's not going to happen, right? Didn't Ed Policy say we're not going to have a lame duck scenario?
Right. Yeah. No, he's just saying it will tack on.
So it'd be whatever it is. So even if it's a 5 year, 6 years, we have Matt. So it's always going to be a +1 on that. But I'm not opposed to a 5-year deal with him, because you got Jordan for 4 easy. You probably sign him again if everything's going like you plan. Then you get him for another 3. And by that time, then you can decide if you want to. Because, I feel like if you're going to do that, you need to – I just don't want to break up that mold they have.
Right. And again, if people are hesitant, man, I don't want him for 5 years. Do we really want him for 5? I get it. Because like Emilio said, that turns into a 6-year deal, essentially. You can move on at any point. But keep in mind that money, you're on the hook for until he gets hired somewhere else. With Matt LaFleur and what Schefter and everybody's reporting, he would come off the market quick. So you're probably going to get out of that contract fairly quick because of the offset, right? That's going to happen, I would imagine. So, and again, if you value draft picks more than that, that's the thing too that's scary, is like, we know Goody loves his draft picks, right? So if behind the scenes what Rob Demoski reported is true, and they get Goody's deal done before Matt LaFleur's, and all of a sudden Goody and the structure changes and Goody's over Matt, who's to say Goody won't go, okay, I'm calling the shots now. I'm trading Matt for draft picks. I want my draft picks. And now all of a sudden we're going, oh, hell. And now Goody's making the head coaching hire. Do we have that much confidence in Goody to make the head coaching hire? And hopefully this is sounding like Goody would be in control, but he would be like Mr. Power. I don't think he would approach it that way. Goody don't come across like that type. He would probably have people with him helping make decisions and stuff. I don't think he would box everybody else out and say, this is what I'm doing. But It does open up that Pandora's box for that type of stuff to happen, obviously, So, all right, next super chat. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I just want a clear top to bottom organizational structure. Ed policy hires his GM and then let the GM make the head coach decision and then holds him accountable. Got it, Mike. That makes sense, man. And again, to your defense, Mike, that has worked in the past in Green Bay. That's how you got 2 Super Bowls, right? It fell apart fairly quick after the Super Bowl because the head coach goes, damn, I just coached this team to a Super Bowl, and now, don't you think I should? The old Parcells line, I love it, man. They want you to cook the meal. The least they can do, let you shop for the groceries. Love it. So appreciate you, Mike. Let's see here. Hector, look at that profile pic, bro. My man. So with the super chat, thank you, Hector. The team wants him, so we need to keep him. I do feel like Matt LaFleur needs to bring in a great OC to be a play caller. He can have his hands on the offense. So kind of a middle ground all the way around, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, Mike McDaniel, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, that would be – I retweeted a video of him breaking down stuff, an old video surfaced of Mike McDaniel. People look at him like the goofy little young guy and everything. He's a football genius, dude. He's really, really good, especially in the run game. And that's where we struggle. So you guys got a comment on that? There, what he says.
No, I think it's true. We just need Matt. Bring him back. I think that it would be cool. Someone said it in the chat, but it's like it's funny because they were, people were getting mad at Matt because he brought in guys, or don't bring in Matt's friends, and now it's like, all right, if we could bring in Matt, McDaniel would be cooking. But I do think it would having 2 minds like that, and after McDaniel had been a head coach for a while, him being, even if you think about it, you want Matt's right hand man. If we're talking about having a his mentor kind of coach, it doesn't need to be a mentor, but what if he has a guy with head coaching experience down on the field like that? Yeah, he's got Rich, but Rich is also worrying about other, like, you got a clock guy. Maybe let's have like an offensive guy while Matt's looking at the play sheet. Matt, it's 3rd and 5. Like, dude, we're already on the right hash. Let's just run that one over here where we got, Doubs open on the left on the field side. All those things could happen in those 20 seconds if you have a buddy that maybe you kind of got that meld a little bit, can think about it.
That's what I was referring to earlier when I suggested that,
Yep.
And I could see that, him having that chemistry with a Mike McDaniel. I mean, how many times we saw it against the Bears, right? Crunch time, Matt's in his bag. He's got the play sheet, and we're pissing away a timeout when we should be getting a call in because he's got so many options. He's a little indecisive. Having that other football mind next to you that you trust to help you make a decision might help, because we know, I mean, Rich Bisaccia, assistant head coach, he's not in Matt's ear giving him play calls, right?
Right. It's just interesting that the rest of the league you could tell they're just waiting in the wings, hoping that the Packers screw this up so they could get their hands on Matt LaFleur, and there's something behind the scenes that's holding this thing up. Is it structure? Is it contract length, like you asked him and Emilio asked? Is it the overall dollar? Is it not just structure, but, hey, we think you need to fire this guy, this guy, this guy? Again, why would Matt LaFleur take less money, less years than he could get somewhere else to have less say over his coaching staff and potentially have more say in the player personnel? So it's just it's a sensitive subject, man. It's why we love football, and it's sometimes why we hate it, right? It's just it's really, really interesting to see how this whole thing is unfolded. And again, the wild card is Ed policy. We don't know how he's going to operate, right? And he may blow the whole damn thing up and us be, oh God, and then next year we're in the Super Bowl, right? You don't know,
right?
Don't
or
know.
For all we know, the damn deal's done and they just haven't announced it.
Hey, and that's happened in the past. They didn't even announce it, but now this has gone so viral. And you got Adam Schefter involved, it's going to get leaked out when it's done, obviously. Remember before, him and Goody got extensions and nobody even knew about it. It was like way later that they found out, y'all got extensions? Well, yeah. Well, they don't have to announce it. But if you got somebody behind the scenes, and you're probably thinking, well, how did Adam Schefter get involved? And how does he know this time? Another it's another thing pointing to the team was lowballing Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's agent was like, okay, we tried to negotiate in good faith. Now we got to take it into the public eye a little bit, and you leak that information out. That's how the game's played. It's just like that house I was telling you. Well, I'll give you this much for it. Well, I'm doing an open house. Well, I don't want you to do an open house, right? Because other people are going to know about it, and they're going to offer more, right? Yep. The way it goes. So, sounds like life to me. But appreciate everybody with the super chats. Y'all got one more topic in you? I want to hit this real quick if that's all right with y'all.
Yes,
all right, we'll just go 10, 15 minutes on it. I thought this was interesting. And listen, this is no surprise. If you follow the show, we've been talking about Romeo Doubs. He's probably gone, right? And just I was sitting there earlier, had a fire going. We were just kind of hanging out with the dogs, and I noticed a bunch of Instagrams popping up from players. I follow all the players on Instagram. I'm not a big IG guy. Imagine that Papal Bailey doesn't get on IG much, right? But is that how the kids say it, Emilio? They call it IG. What do they call it? The gram? What do they call it?
Yeah, you got them both, IG and the gram. I'd say you can call them both that.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate the approval. So I noticed a bunch of players popping up on the top, and I clicked on them, and all of them, it was the same theme, right? So I just put this together, kind of threw a few of them together and put it on a Patreon. And this is obviously Romeo Doubs. We've talked about Dobby, and his last game in Green Bay's probably been played, unless, of course, the market ain't there that we are kind of expecting it to be for him. Maybe you can get him back at a decent price that makes sense for him to stay in Green Bay. But nonetheless, here they are, all right? So the first one came out from Romeo Doubs that I noticed. And it was, I just tweeted it back out, kind of screenshot it. Romeo Doubs on IG, quote, God, I ask that you guide my steps moving forward. And he showed a shot of him and Bo Melton and Jaden Reed in the locker room together, right? So obviously just kind of like, hey, God, guide me as I hit free agency is the way I'm taking this. Like, make sure I make the right decision, not only for my family, but for my career, right? And it is a tough decision, especially somebody who's not like an upper echelon receiver, but he should get decent money. So you got to ask yourself, okay, is it worth it for me to take $3 million more average annual to go play in Cali, where the taxes are much higher, right? Or stay in Green Bay for a little less, knowing my family's rooted here? That can be something that comes into play as well, right? So another one that went out, he tweeted or he Instagrammed this out. This is a picture. Samori Torres in this picture too. So you got Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, you got Dontavion Wicks, Samori Torres in there, Christian Watson,
Bird.
Yeah, that right. Yeah, Bird with Jaden Reed. You've got Vrabel over there, Jason Vrabel, the wide receiver coach. Bet you can't pick out which one he is, right? That's the little short white dude on the left there that ain't got no athletic ability. I guarantee it, right? So he tweeted that out, or I'm sorry, Instagrammed that out. And I just said Romeo Doubs posted an old picture of Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Wicks, and the boys on the IG account. Makes you wonder if it's coming to an end in Green Bay as he's set to hit free agency soon. And then, of course, Christian Watson put an IG post out. And this one kind of go, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm reading this wrong. But I said Christian Watson shared this image on IG with Packers teammate Romeo Doubs, along with the fingers crossed emoji. Is there a chance Doubs and the Packers work out a contract? Like, that was, to me, that was Christian telling Dobby, like, man, if there's any way, like, let's get you back. Or maybe that also, correct me if I'm wrong, Emilio, that might mean, hey, we're thick as thieves, like we're boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry,
Always
sorry.
got his boys back, right?
Sorry, Dobby, for my Caucasian this year, man. I don't know exactly what that emoji means from Christian, but what'd you say, Emilio?
No, I think that you're spot on. Possibility that he could come back, and we're always going to be ride or die. They came in together, right? Yeah. So I mean,
we've been talking about this since they were drafted, right?
Yeah.
That the day may come where it's one or the other, and we got Scoot on that patchwork deal, right?
No.
So Scoot's we're gonna be having this conversation again pretty soon about Christian Watson. So I don't know. I think you're right, though. It'd be Rome agreeing to take less money, right? He's going to get more money elsewhere in the market.
I think so, and we don't know what the fair market value is going to be for him. Spot Track thinks it's somewhere around $12 million average annual value. I got to be honest with you, man. I would be okay with that. Now, hear me out. People go, how can we afford that? Guys, you can afford it. For God's sakes, it's 2026. We know how the salary cap doom and gloomers talk until it's time to get under the cap. All of a sudden, everybody's under the cap, and it ain't a big issue. And then the same time the next year, oh, my God, what are we going to do? If you want a player, you can sign him. A $12 million deal, the first year the cap hit for that deal, probably going to be somewhere between $6 to $8 million against the cap. Is Romeo Doubs worth $6 to $8 million against the cap? I think he is, because there's receivers like Christian Kirk getting paid bank, right? So if you want him, it's just like Matt LaFleur. If you want the player, what Ted Thompson say back in the day when he wanted to trade up to get Clay Matthews. You guys remember that? And they said they literally said to him, I can't remember who it was, the GM or whatever. They were talking about, well, it's going to take this and that to get drafted. I don't care. I want the player. That's what Ted said. When the decision's made, that dude's a vital part of your organization. You do what you got to do to get him in here, right? As long as it's within reason of the right price. So, if I had to put money on it, I would say Dobby's not going to be back. That'd be my guess. But at $12 million per, a 3-year deal that you can get out of in 2. I kind of feel like he could probably get a little more security than that on the market, but we'll see, especially the way he went out with a bang in that playoff game. And then, of course, Matthew Golden. Tim, here's a guy that's a rookie receiver. He hasn't known Doubs that long, and this is the kind of impact he had on his life. You've seen he put out an IG and tagged Romeo in it, them standing together on the practice squad. I think we're realizing real quick just how much Romeo Doubs means to this receiving corps, man. There's a lot of respect in that room for Romeo.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And I think in the fan base too, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I've always been a Romeo Doubs fan. A1 since day one. Very, very reliable target, on those third down looks. I mean, how many times have we seen Rome bail us out on a 3rd and 10 or, third and long play with just great hands. And, I think he's a little bit underrated as a route runner. I think, he's not the fastest guy in the field, but he runs clean routes and he has good hands. And, his teammates love him. He is a leader in that receiver room for sure. But that is a very, very crowded wide receiver room here in Green Bay. So it would not surprise me if they let him test the market.
Yeah. And then Coach Lynn says his relationship with Love on the field is worth his weight and gold. That's the thing, too, is like that trust, Emilio. We seen it took Aaron Rodgers forever to build trust in certain receivers, right? He's got that in Rome for sure.
I remember the Rodgers and the other 87 relationship, right? I mean, you think of Jordan in Rome, I think of, AR-12 and Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, no, and that's it because that was my thing always with Doubs is like, dude, that connection they have is unbelievable. Like he can just look at him. It was, the Tay and Rodgers connection, something like that, where you can lean on him on a speed out on 3rd down and he'll catch it, right? You know how high off the ground he needs it to be, pluck it out of the air and get that 1st down. But just the way it looks, man, I appreciate Doubs. He's probably going to get paid. I think he probably closes. I mean, the way Malik's probably closing in on 40, I think Doubs could close in on 20 and get his money somewhere. I feel like maybe you look, Carolina might want another receiver that you can go opposite of Tet. You get a guy with hands that you got speed and height over there. You got somebody with a possession. You think of all these options these teams have. I want him to, go get that money, man. He's made it coming 4th round pick, right? So you deserve it.
Got a young family. It's just, it's just like Malik. Malik deserves all the money he can get, and it's going to be exciting to root for these players in other places as long as they're not playing the Packers, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Watch them both go down to Miami, get that state income tax free type money down there in Florida.
I would tell you this: if the Packers just decided to cut Matt LaFleur outright, I guarantee you John Eric Sullivan would be the first one knocking on that damn door. And imagine Matt LaFleur, Malik Willis, and Romeo Doubs in Miami, just to kind of start the foundation down there. That would be absolutely wild for sure. United Bates says that's a great point, Coach, talking about Coach Lynn's comment there. Like what 2-0 for this says, Jordan's Devontae is Romeo, and you can't force the connection they have. Can't just make that be golden. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, there was a spirited debate tonight on ESPN Milwaukee between Jason Wilde and one of the hosts. I don't know those hosts that well. I don't watch the show very often, but they kind of got into it over the whole Matthew Golden thing because, how do I say this without being mean and disrespectful? They think that Matthew Golden was underutilized and misused, right? And Wilde responded with, well, how can you say that? He was second on the team in snaps and at the receiver position. Like, what do you mean? Well, it's how he was used. But how? But they couldn't give a detailed answer, which is 90% of the people. And then I love what Wilde says. So I think we need to go back and look at the targets. You may be right. I may go back and go, wow, they didn't use him right. I tell you what they're going to find on the targets. They're going to find deep shots that didn't connect. They're going to find times, and here's what Wilde pointed out, and this isn't a shot at Matthew Golden. He's a young receiver. This is why maybe sometimes you don't spend first-round picks on receivers because there's that learning curve coming into the league, right? And maybe you can just get an offensive lineman, go out there and block somebody, or an edge rusher, just go rush the freaking quarterback, right? That type of thing. But He said, you remember earlier in the year, Jordan Love made a statement. He made a comment that, when Matthew Golden turned it on, he said, he's come a long way, running the right routes, running it at the right depth, attention to detail on the routes. That by default tells you what the problem was with Matthew Golden. Timeout. When we were watching tape, we talked about it all year. Golden's going to be a star, man. He's got a boatload of talent. But right here, he broke that route off and ran it right into another guy's route. That's on Golden there. We found that multiple times throughout the year. So again, if they truly, I think what I'm going to do is if I get to time, I'm going to go and screen record all of his targets and send it to Wildy and just say, here, I did the legwork for you. Cause he was talking about thinking about doing that. If anybody else wants to do it, do it. Get in touch with him on Twitter, say, hey, here's the targets. Cause it would be a fascinating study. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out kind of in the wash, like a push, that both sides had a good point. Maybe they could have utilized them a little bit more, but it's not as bad as they thought. But nonetheless, it's going to take time to make that with Golden is what 2-0 for this is saying, obviously. So, and again, I think Golden showed a lot. I think he's going to be a star. I really do. But you just can't force that stuff. And then, of course, Tucker Kraft, I think was the final one. He actually sent an IG post out as well and just showed just a picture of him and Dobby on the field together. So, obviously, man, Romeo Doubs means a lot to this receiving core and even the tight end room. It's going to suck if we have to let him go, but that's part of the business, man. Go get your money, Rome. Go get your money. And if they lowball you on the market, come on home.
Come on back. Yep.
Back home, buddy. So the sound bot of him with his sunglasses on and saying that Tucker Kraft's in a better place will be forever one of my favorite. And then he realized what he was saying. Like, it's like he realized in a moment, like, okay, it's like he realized, oh, no, he ain't dead. Next question. Yeah. It was awesome. Absolutely.
My favorite was the interview on when he had that great grab. I think it was in the Steelers game. And they were like, Rome, can you tell us about that grab you made? Tell us about that play. And Rome says,
I just caught the ball.
Tim, he is unapologetically himself, right?
I love it.
And they said from day one, he's a different kind of cat. Bro, where did he grow up? I can't remember exactly, but it's somewhere.
L.A., I think.
L.A., wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Florida, L.A. It's tell him what that dude's seen as a kid growing up, right? Yep. And then you make it, you work your way out, and you were actually working out. He was working out with Jordan Love in the offseason before they even got to the NFL because they had the same coach, right? And they were like the same, what am I trying to say? Not coach, but I think it was Armed and Dangerous he was working with, right? So they were doing stuff behind the scenes, and that's how they kind of created that chemistry together. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll be back, but I think it's highly, highly unlikely. And we've talked about it. If you watch this show this year, we've talked about it throughout the year, man. When you model out the roster, which we like to do throughout the season, occasionally go, okay, who's going to be the receivers of the future? You could kind of see Rome's probably going to be the odd man out, most likely, right? Because you've got Matthew Golden looking to step into that boundary X position, and you guys talked about him playing maybe opposite of Tet McMillan or something like that. That would be perfect because what you're doing is, if somebody like Tet or, Puka Nacua or someone, if they're drawing bracket coverage to one side, on the field side, the big side of the field, and then all of a sudden you've got Romeo Doubs working in the phone booth at the boundary X, man, those one-on-ones can really, really create opportunities, especially for a quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers, somebody who plays like that, where they could just throw quick release darts underneath, RPO getting the whole 9 yards. So.
Yep. Yeah. And that's Rome's game all day, right? He's got that big catch radius, and he's great in those one-on-ones.
Yeah, absolutely. United Bates says, seems like players are maybe posting these to speak to front office saying, please keep him if you can. I agree, Bates. The problem with that, Goody does not care. There's one thing we've learned. The first thing he did was he came in and didn't even offer Jordy Nelson. No, he offered Jordy Nelson a minimum contract. Minimum.
Yeah, that's why Jordy became a Raider.
Yep. And here's the thing. We found out, I think it was Wildy talking about it one day on his show, said, I think it is, you fact check me on that. I don't know how you can, but somebody said on a program that it was actually his teammates that came back to Jordy because he was going to accept it. And they said, no, dude, don't let them do that to you. You need to stand your ground and try to get more money. He stood his ground and they said, bye. So he ended up having to go play for the Raiders. Now, was that the right move? I think it was the right move for the Packers because Jordy didn't do anything after that. But like Aaron said, you think he wouldn't have had a better year with me and the chemistry we had? That's a great point too. Yeah. So, yeah. But
we could bring up the Devontae Adams contract talks too, right? It was too little and then too late, and
Yeah, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, Tim, is the portion of the fan base that pretend like Devontae refused to sign here. He took more money elsewhere. That was not the case.
It's not true at all. That's not the case.
They lowballed the hell out of him, disrespected him, and he said, okay, what they said was, you're going to have to play out the final year of your contract. And Tay on that interview said, after everything I've done, you're going to tell me you need to see it for one more year? No, I don't want to negotiate. So when they let him out, as it got to the point where he was like, no, I don't want a contract, they gave him an offer bigger than what the Raiders gave him. And he said, no, it ain't about the money.
He had already bought a crib out in Vegas already. He was halfway.
He already had, come on, Tim. He already had the Taco Bell deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I know people piled on, well, look at what he did with Vegas.
There it is, Emilio.
This guy right here. Look at what he did in Vegas. That was the right move, right? Well, look at what he did in New York. He didn't do anything. Did you see what he did this year? I think he led the league in touchdowns, I believe, amongst wide receivers. So Tay still got it to a certain extent. I was hoping they bring him back last year, I think it was. I thought that would be interesting. But, again, I think it's one of those situations that whether you love him or hate him, Goody rubs some people the wrong way, you know. And he's gangster Goot, like Tim said.
Yep.
He makes a decision, that's it, and we're not even going to talk about it. You know what I mean? So
straps that do-rag on extra tight when he's in negotiations, you know?
I had a conversation earlier today with somebody on Twitter, Steve on Twitter, and we're good buddies. We comment back and forth, and it got a little bit heated. I took his text the wrong way. Surprise, this guy took something the wrong way, right? That never happens. But he made a comment about LaFleur's playoff record and this and that, and I said, but we're not going to hold Goody to the same standard? And he kind of changed the subject a little. I mean, no, we're not done talking about this. You realize that the only year that Brian Gutekunst didn't have Matt LaFleur as his head coach, he didn't even make the playoffs. He only won 6 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right? I think I said that right. So you know what I'm saying? Like, what has Goody done without Matt LaFleur? Right? It goes both ways. If you looked at their record overall, well, that's not just everything for a GM. Okay, cool. Let's count up the All-Pros. We did that the other day. Ted Thomas smokes Goody's ass in All-Pros drafted. What else we want to talk about, you know? So it is what it is. But
I like what Ron says. A GM can't be everyone's best friend.
You can't be anyone's best friend.
That's right.
Right, Ron? Yeah, that's a great point, man. And again, this ain't the pile on Goody. I just want that same energy towards everybody. Same thing with Hafley. To pretend like Hafley's perfect is just silly. You know, to throw it all at the floor of at the feet of LaFleur in that Chicago game when he dropped 27 on them, and the defense crapped the bed in the fourth quarter, and we're not even. It's like, well, what about Hafley? La 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 la. Okay, your mind's made up. Got it. You know. Again, it was a loud minority that just wanted him gone, wanted LaFleur gone. So I will end it with this: Lion and the Lamb. Love the name, by the way. I don't think LaFleur is going anywhere. We don't either, right? Round the horn one last time. Do you think LaFleur is going to be the head coach in Green Bay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Tupac LaFleur is still your coach.
He's going to get a couple more long darts.
I was going to say.
Yeah, we're going to add a couple more once we get this deal done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Maybe a teardrop tattoo.
And a teardrop. If for every.
What about a neck tat? Can we get him a neck tat?
There's got to be some kind of equal attachment here to however much money he gets. So if he gets 20 million per and that gets reported, then we need to put 20 teardrops going down.
Dude, just dripping all the way down.
Right, all the way down. So, which by the way, man, I had a cut on my neck down here. Mandy put a little heart-shaped bandage on it, just making fun of me. I forgot about it. If you watched the show back a couple of nights ago, I'm on here live and that damn thing's still there, and I had to pull it off. Mike with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says 12 got that Tay money.
That's a good
got the Tay money. What's that mean?
12 got
Tay money. After they lowballed Tay and he left, we were able to keep it around.
That's a very good point. See, that's the other thing too. See, we're going way long now. That whole Aaron Rodgers thing, we've seen this song and dance before. Like with Aaron, you drug it out. They were at odds with Brian Gutekunst, right? And then at the end of the day, they still paid Aaron. So you pissed him off, stripped everything down, paid him a ton of guaranteed money to where we had to eat a huge dead cap, and then end up trading him anyway. It's like that's how it feels with LaFleur. It's like if you want him, great. If you wanted Aaron, great. If you didn't, move on. You know, like let's keep this train rolling. It ain't the end of the world. Players come and go. It is what it is. But to kind of ride the fence in the middle, man, that's rough. That's really rough. So anyway, you guys got anything else? Anything else y'all want to hit on or no?
Oh, it's a good show, man. I can't wait. Probably tomorrow, right? We'll get something, be going live, and
I hope this doesn't go through into the weekend, guys. I hope we get.
Somebody said, what if it's a Friday dump? Because that happens. If you guys don't know, like in the news media, they'll wait till the end of the day Friday, dump some news. We ain't got to talk about it till Monday, right? Sometimes that happens. And I think it was Wildy that was talking about it. It was like, well, would that be positive or negative? It's a great question, but I think it would be. I could see the team doing that because this does look bad. Like, let's get it done. It should have been done sooner. Do it right at the Friday dump, and then, all right, we'll just kind of everything will fizzle out by the time we get back Monday type thing. I don't know. So,
well, yeah, because then you got games this weekend, right? I mean, you pay them, you get it over with. Whatever happens this weekend in the games, they're going to be talking about it more than anything else, and then
it covers it up. Yeah, that's a great point. Yep. Yeah. Last one, Romero Hill says, question: do y'all think both Matt LaFleur and Hafley both choked? I don't think either of them choked, Romero. Here's the thing that nobody's talking about, and I know I'm an extreme minority here. We're talking about how bad they played in the second half, and nobody's talking about how great they played in the first half. It goes both ways. They played unbelievable. They coached unbelievable in the first half. Well, what happened in the second half? I bet y'all can't guess what my answer is. What happens in clutch moments, right? What would you rather have, a rookie player or a veteran player in a clutch moment? I'm wanting the veteran player who's been there. They're not going to be as nervous. They're not going to choke. So for me, the youth of the roster, losing Edger Cooper in the second half, made the defense kind of fall apart. You're literally out there at your most important positions. Interior defensive line, you're talking about, what was it, a fourth rounder? Not even a fourth rounder. I think it was a couple fifth or sixth rounders, right? That was playing your defensive tackle position. Yeah. Right.
No, I think it came down to execution. You executed in the first half. You didn't completely execute in the second half. There was that one third down where we should have rallied and tackled him, and he gets Monungai got like a 20-yard game. It's just it didn't tackle. It's like those little things, right? And at some point, what can a coach do on the sideline or in the booth?
And that points to Clay's point, right, about the youth. Let's be honest. That's the first time the Packers didn't play 60 minutes of football. I mean, we can go look down the schedule. There were plenty of games that this team decided to play 2 or 3 quarters and, let games get away from them,
Mm-hmm. Right. I love what Coach Lynn says. O-line pooped to bed. That's pretty accurate statement there too, Coach. Pack Attack with Super Chat. Thank you. Says, give LaFleur one more year, then decide. Here's the problem with that, Pack Attack. I'm not rolling it out. I'm not saying never, but never, right? Like, it could happen. I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. They may give him just a 1-year extension. But to me, if I'm Matt LaFleur and I'm in Matt LaFleur's camp, and I think everybody probably agrees, a 1 year equals no years. Like, if you're not willing to give me security, I can go get it on the market. Nope, not accepting that. I've already got a 1 year. He's already in the contract next year. So what you're saying is, we want you at the price we already had you at 1 year. We're going to give you 1 more year after that. Why would he do that when other teams are willing to pay him $100 million? Right. That just doesn't make sense.
It's just like the conversation we had with Tay Adams, right? It was the same scenario. They wanted
it really is.
Down the road, and he said, "Nah, I'm okay."
Yep. And that's the other thing too. The players are looking at this too, going, "Are they really not confident in our coach? But they want us to go out there and listen to them." That's the other message that's being sent, whether we like it or not. And Pack Attack. I'm not saying that's not a good idea, man. From a fan standpoint, and the front office standpoint, that would be great.
Yeah,
they can prove it. Unfortunately, that's just not how the business works, right?
You know what Matt's going to say? Matt's probably in there like,
scared money don't make money.
It's funny, too. That got quoted a lot today on Twitter, and I laughed. I'm like, it's true. It's true. That's probably his mindset, too. Well, you afraid to pay me? Let me leave, Yep. And I'm of the opinion, I'm just stubborn enough and got just enough of a, I don't know what the right word is, I guess temper, that I'm to the point where when it gets to stuff like this, it's like, you know what? Heck with it. Let him leave. Go. All right, cool. That's what this portion of the fan base wants. That's what Ed Policy wants. Cool. Let him leave. Put your money where your mouth is, Ed. You don't think he's worth it? You can do better without him. Let him leave, and let's prove him wrong, right? Problem is, I don't think Ed believes he can prove him wrong. That's what it feels like anyway. So I try to run everything through a business filter, and I'm looking at this. If I was in Ed Policy's shoes, I would have to ask myself, is he the guy or is he not the guy? It's that simple, right? If he's the guy, pay him the market value. If you'd done that 5 days ago, you'd have got him cheaper. Now the money is amped up just like the Jordan Love situation. If he's not the guy, all right, Matt, we respect you too much to drag this on. We don't think you're the guy. We're going to shop you around for draft picks, and we would love to get your say. If we get equal value in a place that you want to go and there's not somebody else outbidding that, we'll send you there, right? Anywhere other than the North, and go get draft picks. I respect people doing business like that, but this lowballing, you can't make business sense out of lowballing something like this. You just can't, because it affects the entire organization all the way down through the locker room. And now you've got the team leaders. You just paid Jordan Love how much money? You just paid Micah Parsons how much money? And they're both going, what are we doing? Jordan's going, yeah, Matt's the guy that I want to play. He's the guy for the job. Micah Parsons said, that guy's one of the reasons why I came here, right? That's just a bad look all the way around. And what are you going to do, cut those guys? Yeah, you can do that. You're going to have about 100.
You're going to get your ass kicked in that.
You're good at that too. You're going to have about 160 million in dead cap attached. Good luck building the team next year. It's not possible. It's just not possible. So, yeah, going to be interesting, man. The Ed Policy era has began. We may look back on this and go, boy, he knew what he was doing. He played this fiddle perfect. That may happen. There's also a chance we look back and go, oh no, probably not the guy that should have took over. I'm excited to walk through it all with you guys as it all unfolds. It's going to be an absolute blast. Last one, dead fish. Matt LaFleur's 46. We give him a 5-year, $100 million contract. When he's 51 and that money is in the bank, how is he going to spend it? I know this, my wife could find a way to spend that money.
He could sponsor a podcast if he wants,
There you go.
There you go. That's right. Sponsor the show. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Man, his money.
Appreciate everybody jumping in there. Do us a big favor. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Click the bell icon. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Everybody, Kenny Rogers coming in here gifting memberships. Packer Doug. We got Kenny Rogers again with the super. Mike the super fan. We got Solder. Other Mike Z in the house. Solder again. We got Hector coming in here. And Pack Attack. Mike again. Joe Trev. Thank y'all so much.
That one just hit, Clay. Just got to read that one.
Oh, did it really? All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Ike Turner with the super chat. Joe Trev says, man, this is not even a discussion. The way Matt handled the transition from Rodgers to Love, that's enough for me. Matt just need to upgrade the staff. Again, completely agree, Joe. Matt's not completely innocent either, right? He's done things wrong too, I'm sure. I agree, though, man. The transition was worth its weight in gold, as someone said earlier. I got Lincoln smacking the door. He's ready to come in, so we got to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Joe Trev. Thanks, everybody. Emilio, Tim, appreciate y'all's time. Yes. We will be back tomorrow. Keep y'all over here beating on the door. Yeah. Keep the bell icon clicked, and anything breaks tomorrow, any little bit of news, I'll go live randomly throughout the day, and we'll cover it. So appreciate everybody. This is PTA. My name's Clayton. Go Pack Go.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.